My name is Daryl Prince. This is my proposal for America, for Congress. National action, climate leadership through greenhousing and collective impact. The 777 plan represents a bold and pragmatic vision for addressing climate change while driving unprecedented economic growth and innovation. This is a net zero cost plan, leveraging significant private investment to raise and spend $8.4 trillion over 6 to 8 years, modernizing infrastructure across all states, territories, incorporated under the American flag. Every region will benefit directly with funding distributed equitably. On average, about 168 billion per state. It's based constitutionally in the old way on population, total population. Um, the majority of funding will come from private sources, taxes, and reinvestment cycles, which allows it to become uh, net zero cost to the federal government. Although the bonds issuance will probably cost about $1 trillion or so. By focusing on building for the future through housing, transportation, and planetary albedo strategies, the 777 plan ensures that the United States leads globally in climate action and technological advancement. This initiative underscores the principle of large scale government projects can stimulate economic growth while solving critical challenges. They should always be pursued, provided externalities are accounted for. We can, raise GDP nationally by a few percentage points and provide jobs wherever there are people while upgrading your infrastructure, making it easier for people to get from place to place and reduce traffic and such, and provide incentive for people and businesses, the business certainty that there's going to be a lot of money in a certain direction, provides investment, which allows economies of scale. Um, and then once you know that you get something good and it's in phases so that, we can try certain things out, certain things work out, certain things don't, and it's underwritten enough that it's not a big deal. The whole thing keeps moving and we just switch it up a little bit and move to the next generation. But right now, there is rising reason to take care of climate change. I mean, 67% of Americans are alarmed or concerned about climate change. I think that's time to go. And it's something that Nixon knew was a serious threat, and yet we still have not taken care of it. The carbon emissions still keep rising each year. And we need something to transition over. This is, best economy ever. Not too bad. We'll use member pre-sales rent commitments to aggregate demand and drive market trends, ensuring affordability and scalability. Scale renewable energy systems by integrating solar, wind, and energy storage into housing developments. Prioritize plant-based carbon capture, hemp-based reforestation as cost-effective alternative to direct air capture, which is not to say that we may not need power-driven direct air capture as well, but we'll need the nuclear stuff to do that. We'll look at the numbers by scale, but we need to invest in all the different directions as possible. We'll expand sustainable transportation, run state by state research competitions to solve mass transit problems, to upgrade cities to be quieter. They're already pretty safe, generally speaking. In fact, you're more safe, generally speaking, in a city than you are in most, in a lot of the rural districts. But there's definitely a way to make both the cities much quieter and much better to live and to kind of get to the basics. And we need to develop those standards over time and get people involved. And then we can run we can do emissions ratings for vehicles, advocate for no, we're going to do mass transit investments. We're just going to figure out where we can do them, where they make sense, and uh, try to build it. If you build it, they will come. Usually, people do like to ride on things like sleds that take them where they have to go without having to park and do all other stuff. It's just about you want to get back and forth. You don't have to. You want to get home. You want to get where you're going and not have a lot of chaos in the midst of that, and that's understandable, and that's definitely doable, and they're doing it better in other countries, and the United States has fallen behind, not falling behind, has fallen behind many other countries because they're investing more, and this brings us to that. We got to fund polar albedo restoration projects like reflective materials on ice sheets and snow preservation techniques. Some more marine albedo interventions, including microbubble technologies, ocean-based carbon capture, and just general albedo increase layers in any mechanism possible for mass distribution, including the aerosol, but have to do mass testing on it, but not mass testing, just at scale, maybe like a mile or so square to test it. Each method developed self-sustaining retirement communities utilizing surplus land for farming, renewable energy, and resource sharing. Reduce reliance on Social Security and Medicare payments by enabling cost-effective, high-quality living solutions for seniors. Revise GDP growth projections, investments in green infrastructure, renewable technologies, and 4 to 6% annual GDP growth during implementation, driven by new industries and market demand. The plan will create 30 to 50 million jobs across construction, transportation, manufacturing, and public works generally. Um, the housing market commitments projected to grow by 75 billion over 3 years with scalable growth over adjacent sectors. Uh, Achievable, measurable reductions in national carbon emissions aligned with net zero goals by, no, I never said 2050. It has to be a lot sooner than that. We're in pretty bad shape. Delaying warming effects is by increasing Earth's reflectivity can buy critical time for mitigation strategies. That's correct. Economics of scale, mass production of green housing and transportation systems will drive down costs and accelerate adoption. Federal incentives will spur public-private partnerships. Well, the federal program is a massive one, but maximizing resource utilization and minimizing risk. Centralizing critical research projects at the national level allows for economies of scale in materials production, labor organization, and technological development. Um, yeah, and not to mention, and then, but the small state examples, so say like Wyoming is an average allocation of 168 billion. I think it's actually more like 40 billion because I adjusted it after this. But it builds 15,000 green homes using local labor, reducing reliance on imported materials, looking to upscale, um, whatever local material productions are, develop hemp farming initiatives for carbon sequestration, creating 10,000 jobs, investing in regional mass transit systems to connect rural communities and urban hubs. And then also, and then you'll have the opportunity to do that with the next state or whatever, because usually building the flow throughs, increase transportation, trade, and uh, growth generally. People growth is economic growth. Request for a CBO score, assess the economic benefits, including the job creations of the Congressional Budget Office. Once they look through the plan, it's going to be on every front page of every newspaper in the world. Demonstrate the science of CO2's greenhouse effect and the economic effects of inaction. So we want to do that to the Senate. Green housing development, 50 billion a year to incentivize net zero housing projects, transportation modernization, $20 billion a year for mass transit and sustainable vehicle incentives. Some of this is still got to get it worked out. Ensure that the United States remains a global pioneer in climate action and innovation, creates millions of sustainable jobs that benefit every state and district with very simple things, and gives room to innovate just like no one ever has before. Mitigate and delay the impacts of global warming through enhanced planetary albedo strategies. Yeah, so that sounds good to you. Let me know. Um, yeah, my name is Daryl Prince. Support my agenda. Um, like, subscribe, share, and let your congressperson know. You could also send $1 to the Federal Reserve in care of Daryl Prince, and that would be and then you can put for what, this is what we got to do, get to building and implementing. That seems like a better future for humankind than whatever it is we're doing right now. And then focus our for building for our children or for our future, and upgrading ourselves, our infrastructure, and moving from back to place to the next level, and trying to take care of the damage that we're doing to our own planet, so that we don't leave just a planet of trash to our children. Um, but we can turn that into trash to treasure and start really developing, you know, people who are kind of focused around understanding what and where things come from and how they're used and how we can make them better, and also make sure that we ourselves are doing that in our own environments, and it makes for better living, and better control, and wiser citizens, better able to pick better leadership. Um, yeah. So let's get to work. That's what I got to do. But I'm working for you whenever I can. My name is Daryl Prince. Justice in the American Way. And corny stuff like that.